All right, back in the building with DMC from the legendary Run DMC on 93.9 Wkys.
Here we are.
Easy. And Jose is on the line. He has a question for you.
Oh, cool.
B.
What's up, Jose?
What's up, DMC?
What's happening, man? How you?
Good, man. Much respect. It's an honor to be speaking to you right now.
Where you calling from?
I'm Fairfax, Virginia, DMV area.
That's what's up. What's good? You got a question for me?
Yeah, my question to you is, as far as, I know you found out late that you were adopted, and,
Yeah.
and I know that caused some tension within your adoptive family, and I wanted to know how you got past that, and that tension, and got through that, and how that is right now, your relationship with
both
your,
both
with your family.
families. Well, yeah, it was very, very tense when I first found out, and I didn't know what to do. It was like I was torn between two families, but fortunately, I came up with the solution to put both families in a room at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Just to show them.
That's a real family blend right
exactly. There. To show them that this whole situation, regardless of the situation that caused it, that we all family, we all in this together, and it's all good with everybody. So I tried. What I did was I got my birth mother and my real mother in the room at the same time, and fortunately, it was beautiful.
Oh, okay.
I think what it is, to really answer your question, you got to tackle these problems. You got to tackle these situations head on. You know what I'm saying? You got to take control of it. Because when you look at the foster kids and adopted kids, we're involved in a transaction that we really had no say in. But we do have the power. We do have the power to heal the situation. That's where our power lies in.
Exactly. And how did you feel about finding out so late? I read that you found out at 35 years old. How did you feel about that?
Well, it was a surprise. At first, I was angry. I was mad. I was confused. And you have a right to be angry because it's like, wow, it's the secrets and the lies that cause all the pain and the hurt. That's why I do what I do. I say if you remove the guilt and the shame, you remove the pain. But at first I was angry, confused, hurt, sad, whatever. But then I thought about that. Fortunately, everything turned out right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
it was good.
Glad to hear that.
And like I said, my birth mother, she said, yo, I gave you up to give you a chance. And she gave me one hell of a chance, because here I am, DMC, Run DMC.
That changed the world, dog.
Exactly.
Talk about a blessing. That changed the world. I mean, I don't think, and maybe I'm going to jump out here on a limb by saying this, but I don't think that I would be even here, sitting here playing hip-hop and R&B.
If what happened didn't happen.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean,
Busta Rhymes said that too.
There would be no guarantee.
LL was like, don't you know life would have been different.
Right.
Not just musically, life in general would have been different. That had to happen. And that's really powerful, because what I like to do now is, I just started doing this like 2-3 years ago, when I was actually here in D.C. for the Angels in Adoption Award. Like, I was like, what are you giving me an award for? I'm just trying to rep for these kids. And I just realized something. Changing the world. This is the power that those foster kids have, because I got 2 very famous foster and adoptive kids that really changed the world. Moses. Read the Bible. Moses was adopted. He was given up by his birth mother, put in the river. He floated down the river. He was adopted in the Egyptian royalty.
That's right.
He wasn't even an Egyptian. God calls Moses up and says, yo, Moses, come here, man. I need you to do something for me. And Moses was like, what you want me to do, G? And G said, I want you to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. And Moses goes, hold up, check Moses out. He was just like these foster kids. He said, hold up, God, let me get this right. First of all, remember, Moses was a murderer.
Right.
He killed a man. Remember, he killed a man and fled. He said, God, you want me? I'm a murderer. I'm not even Egyptian, and I can't even speak. He had a stuttering problem. People don't remember in the Bible, Moses had a problem speaking. He said, you want me to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go? Yeah, I want you to do that, Moses. So he took his little foster behind and changed the world. Another foster kid adopted kid, Jesus. Mary came home pregnant. What did Joseph do? Oh, shucks, I got to take care of the baby. Right. They raised the kid. He went on and changed the world. So these kids have the potential the potential to be hugely successful. You know, and even within entertainment, sports, everyday jobs, there's a lot of people who was in that foster care system, that adoptive system, who are still ashamed of it. They don't go tell their stories, you know, because they're worried about what their teammates is going to think. They're worried about what the other CEO and boss is going to think. But you was put in your position not to impress your friends, so you could go tell those kids y'all was just like you. That's a powerful thing when a foster kid who has seen hell most of his life, he or she don't understand why they're in this situation, but they need to see, like I do at my camp. I started a camp called Camp Felix. What I do is every summer we take foster kids and we just take them to camp, sleepaway camp. So they get to see other foster kids so they don't feel alone, but at the same time, they can see the rapper, they can see the doctor, they can see the lawyer, they can see the cook, they can see the baker, they can see the journalist, and they asked us, they go, yo, they'll tell you, they'll look at the doctor up and down and say, you was a foster kid and you survived? That's powerful.
Wow.
So they see, wow, and we come from the same places they come from. We come from those same street corners that they all stood on. But all they know is, oh man, my father's incarcerated, my mother's on drugs. We tell them, but ain't nothing the matter with you. They go, what do you mean? Ain't nothing the matter with you. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to be? And they have dreams and aspirations. I think it's up to the United States of America to fulfill the dreams and desires of these kids. Because check this out. 500,000 kids in foster care every year. The jails, 70% of inmates in jail have been through the foster care system. When these kids age out the system, there's three places I found out for them to go. They either go to jail, they either go to the grave, or either go to mental institutions, because they go crazy in their lives trying to figure out, all I want to do is be something positive and good. But when you give these kids the chance, like I said, they all excel. They become the next great people of this universe. And now look at this foster kid. He's in a bad situation. But if you change the life of a kid, you change the life of a home. You change the life of a home, you change the life of a neighborhood. Change the life of a neighborhood, you change the life of a city. You change the life of a city, you change the life of a state. You change the life of a state, you change the life of this nation. When we created hip-hop, and I like to tell these kids, it wasn't like some executive at a record company said, we're going to let you guys do hip-hop, and started giving us all these ideas of better yourself. Find out what it is that you want to be. Yo, it's bad in the hood, but you can educate yourself. There's so many positive alternatives to living this life of despair, poverty, crime, and death, right? And I tell the kids, the typical rapper, MC, whatever you want to call it, was 12 to 22 years old. And these kids from the inner city, like Chuck D said, we had nothing.
Wow. We
didn't have Studio 54. We didn't have production. We didn't have access to studios back then. We took our music.
No MPC.
None of that. Wasn't no beat making. We took crates of records, turntables, and hi-fi stereo systems, and we started speaking. And the reason why hip-hop did what it did, it wasn't that we was just rapping to impress our friends, that we could spit a rhyme. Oh, you could spit a 16. It wasn't about being better than who. The reason why these young people changed the universe from the inner city, who were these foster kids in and out of jail and stuff like that, we took it upon ourselves and not have excuses. We was rapping economics, politics, history. We was teaching each other knowledge and wisdom. Okay, you can't rap, you can't MC, you can't DJ, you don't know nothing about electronics. You could breakdance. Look at the TV shows now. America's Best Dance Crew. Right. Most of them only win when they start breakdancing. We, us young people, we created that. The guys that couldn't dance, the guys that couldn't write poetry, the guys that didn't know nothing about music, the guys that couldn't even read and write. Some of these kids, you're not supposed to do this, but they started writing on the walls, the graffiti. They became artists. I tell the kids, some of those graffiti artists that was writing on the walls are the same kids designing your Air Force Ones, your Adidas, your Coogee shirts. So these kids in the foster care system, in the group homes, and even these kids that do get incarcerated, they're not born just to fill up our jails. They're born to be something greater, else they wouldn't be here. It's up to the United States of America to give these kids the opportunity. The kid that's going to keep stealing a car, let's send his butt to school so he can learn how the car works, so instead of going to jail, he could go get a job and hopefully open up his own chain of auto shops. You know, the kids that are doing the things that they do, they're doing it to survive. So let's take that survival instinct and educate it and nurture it, so these kids could be the next great you and me's.
You know what? When we come back, I want to talk about the government's role. I think that's something that we should reach into. I think we would be remiss to not talk about the government's role in correcting these problems.
They're a big part of it.
Do that next with DMC on KYS. Jose, thank you, sir.